If there's one dynamic I've seen go criminally underexplored when it comes to the discussions surrounding the show online, it ironically enough just so happens to be its most inescapably crucial relationship. Kik and Gunther are, by a very large margin, the true emotional core of the show, a walking proof of concept when it comes to the show's themes of self-expression and outsider solidarity. I honestly think that in order to truly get Kik as a character, you need to understand what and who he truly values above all else. And that just so happens to be the straightforward sincerity and support of his closest, and for a time, only friend, Gunther Magnusson. Now, throwing on the first episode again, you're handed with what seems to be a pretty basic setup of their dynamic the first minute or two in. Here's Kik, a very staunch, serious, and proud little dude fully committed to the bit of being the hardcore stuntsman. He shrugs off getting crushed by the garage door, barely flinches at Brad and the neighborhood wishing him a very eat shit and die on his first big stunt, and shows nary a trace of fear after announcing his goal to cruise down Dead Man's Drop. In slight contrast, here's Gunther. He's goofy, a bit of a space cadet, and not nearly as coordinated or pain-resistant when it comes to that daredevil life, but totally secure enough in Kik's awesomeness to talk him up against the jeers of his makeshift audience. So, when you see Gunther bring out the ironing board instead of a skateboard, you'd expect Kik to, get irritated, even berate him a bit considering the ungodly amount of pressure he's under from the crowd. But instead...
Gunther, you... genius!
Anyone can try this insane stunt on a skateboard, but an ironing board? There's only one man for that. Kik Patowski!
He rolls with it, impressed with Gunther's ingenuity and fully trusting him to have his back even after all of the technical hiccups. And yet...
The side, Kik! Hook the side!
He's gonna eat it so bad. Ah, biscuits. Hey, eat, and sometimes...
Kik still totally beefs it, and Gunther's left picking thorns out of his pal Patowski for all of his troubles. So, what do we learn from these, 6 minutes of episode? Well, that for all of his natural confidence and skill, Kik is still just as prone to fuck-ups and failures than the OP would initially have you believe. But instead of giving up, he perseveres, specifically because Gunther's right there alongside him, serving as his right-hand man with a level of insight and planning you wouldn't initially expect just going off of his first minute of screen time. It's a neat and efficient way of setting up their dynamic going forward. Kik's a dedicated showman, sometimes prone to lapses in judgment and impulse, while Gunther functions as support, a jack of all trades there to, bring Kik back to earth when he gets demoralized or loses sight of the bigger picture.
Must find that key.
Come on, Kik, you'd probably have to drink a bajillion cans of Cheetah Chug before you find that key. There's no way you could do it. But I can.
Gunther, I couldn't ask you to.
Kik, I'm Gunther. It's what I do. Gunther!
There's a natural, unquestioned synchronicity there that's just fascinated me for a little over a decade now. If Gunther's not sure about a plan, Kik's blind confidence reassures him. If there's some kind of blind spot in Kik's planning, he always trusts Gunther to have that covered and accounted for. They may be at odds in terms of general attitude, but it's a complete non-issue to a surprising degree, considering who we're dealing with here.
Stupid pageant. Who even comes to these things? Gunther!
For someone like Kik, a boy near pathologically adverse to being associated with anything effeminate, romantic, or mushy, his closest friend being a naturally flamboyant and affectionate guy like Gunther should be a point of contention for them at least once, right?
No breaks, huh? No breaks? You're a crazy hothead, you know that? And I love you for it.
But it never is. And that's the neat thing about Kik. He's never one to, force change where it doesn't need to be. He has his own form of self-expression and his own way of life he wants respected, and is never one to really push his standards onto others. That's how he can more or less tolerate people who annoy him, while still being able to find common ground with him. See his weird on-again, off-again friendship with Jackie when she's not being wacky, for a good example of that. But with Gunther, zero humoring there. Kick just wholesale, unironically, and very blatantly at times adores Gunther as is. And like the one time Gunther straight up asked him to help make him more awesome by way of Kick's estimation.
She's never gonna want me.
She? Oh, right, the girl. Wow, you've got it bad, huh?
He did it very reluctantly. And the second where it seemed like Gunther would actively be in danger thanks to his inexperience, Kick's immediate reaction to Gunther vowing to conquer Widowmaker's Peak was to...
Come on, Gunther. Listen to reason.
Oh!
Never listen to reason.
Listen to reason. Gotcha.
For lack of a better term, pull a Gunther and try to convince him not to do it. When it's Kick's safety on the line, he takes his beatings in stride. It comes with the territory of being a daredevil, so he can always just walk them off and try again. But Gunther, choosing to do this solely for Jackie's attention?
Gunther, I won't let you do this. You're gonna get hurt.
I have to do this. I gotta get the girl.
No girl is gonna come between us. And getting rid of Jackie isn't worth losing my best friend. Come on, buddy. We'll find another way.
Nope, not this time. There's no hesitation on Kick's end to trail Gunther when things go south and he ends up being stunned. And he willingly lets himself get bodied for the sake of Gunther's happiness. And the wildest thing about that, it's pretty consistent on Kick's end. There are a lot of just small character moments where you can tell that Kick's looking out for him. And for the most part, he never pushes Gunther to a level of discomfort where he outright bails, something that tends to put him at odds with the rest of Mellowbrook. Of the entire cast, Kick tends to be the most, I'd say, attuned to Gunther's reactions, a fact that often sticks out against his complete lack of social decorum when it comes to being stunt guy on main 24/7. He pays attention when Gunther calls him out, or when he points out logistical issues in his planning.
Why do you have a complete schematic of the Millbrook dog pound drawn on your back?
There's some things even friends don't share.
Well, usually.
Well, what if your dad pretended to be cool?
Nah. Or I could pretend to have a cooler dad.
Oh, and I'll pretend that I totally support this.
Kick demonstratively values the approval of Gunther above all else. Because to Kick, Gunther is his Gunther. His good friend Gunther with the cool Nordic family, his guardian angel and moral compass who can be a bit touchy at times, and who enjoys things that Kick can only barely wrap his dumb, hypermasculine little head around. But his completely irreplaceable Gunther all the same. I'm not kidding about all the possessive language, for the record. He really just says that more than once.
Now get out of our hangout! Or else! Not without my Gunther. I'll take my Gunther back now. And our hangout. Don't eat my Gunther! Or wake him up!
Kick's affection towards Gunther verges on implicitly romantic at points, but... God. The rabbit hole that is the gay coding of one Clarence Butowski goes even deeper than just this. And I'm getting a wee bit off topic anyways, so I'll save that for another time on my own channel. Anyways, how does Gunther feel about his friendship with Kick?
You know, I'm beginning to wonder if you're a fan.
You're right, Kick. I'm not your fan. I'm your friend.
Buddy, come on. Ah, see? I knew you'd come around.
Jeez. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of mutual appreciation still there to be found.
I'm not gonna let you stand in the way of my ultimate Muscle Beach hangout!
I'm not about to let you break up an awesome friendship!
And Gunther definitely appreciates having Kick in his life and getting to be such a key part in his greater success. But it's fair to want to be more than just a part of someone else's story, right? And that tends to be the premise for a lot of their best season contention moments throughout the series. Gunther feeling irrelevant in comparison to his awesome friend, while Kick, bless his heart, doesn't even think to consider him such.
It's no use, Kick. Leave me behind. Save the board. I'm replaceable.
No, man! I'm gonna get you both!
You can't do it all.
I have to do it all! And then some!
Like, there are a lot of small moments where he either expects imminent abandonment, or is genuinely uncertain what his place in Kick's life is beyond the wingman. Especially when you consider that he's more or less specced hard into being Kick's right-hand man.
What will I do without my best friend?
Are you sure this is safe?
Oh yeah, we do this all the time where I'm from.
He works better when given room to improvise, and when not judged too harshly for screwing up, which is why Abandoned Friendship as an episode is so crucial to understanding their dynamic, as well as where it goes moving forward. When forced by their parents to end their friendship, two households both alike in dignity and all that, it's on the grounds that they're both a bad influence on the other.
What a pair, huh?
Yeah, oh, Kick is so rebellious.
Only when Gunther's around.
Your son is like this. Gunther, I will ruin your life. And also look at my silly helmet.
And Gunther is like this.
I don't know about this, Kick.
I don't know about this, Kick.
So of course, star-crossed as they are, Kick and Gunther try to sneak around and make things work. But to no avail. Their parents are too militant, so they vow to never find another best friend. That lasts for about, like, a day, and it goes about as well as you think.
Well, you ever think about going down Dead Man's Drop?
Never find another friend ever, huh? Sitting in our booth? With him?
With Gunther at least, he, tries to socialize and make new friends out of the Mellowbrook kids. Into Kick. But with Kick himself, he's completely out of his element without Gunther by his side. No one comes close, whether it be because they're too uncritical of him.
You're supposed to say, I don't know about this, Kick.
Wait a second! You just want me to be a replacement for Gunther!
Well,
I'm totally into it. What do you think?
Or they don't have Gunther's expertise or, sentience. It clearly eats away at him when Gunther isn't there.
why can't you just tell Gunther you miss him? Because I'm only your reflection.
But he's still too caught up in his own emotional repression to be upfront about it. So the second they can talk in the same gully, of course it goes bad. Kick gets mad about being left behind, and Gunther gets mad about having his skill at being Kick's wingman diminished, a clever inversion of their usual character neuroses. So when Gunther, of all people, calls Kick the worst daredevil, you know, the person who's more or less had his back the entirety of his career, it stings enough for him to 100% lose his cool and throw hands. Thankfully, they both calm down after that mess, which helps Kick come to his senses and actually allow himself to be vulnerable and tell Gunther directly that he misses him.
I miss my best friend.
I feel the same way, buddy.
They make up, and then get their parents to make up afterwards. The day is saved, but the show doesn't forget about what they planted here. Their extreme friendship continues on strong, sure, but a lot of their conflicts after that point start to center more around Kick juggling his own daredevil cred against his loyalty towards Gunther.
This ain't gonna end well, is it?
Never does.
He's willing to do some absolutely dark-sided shit if it means not letting Gunther down. Something that he's willing to extend to others, I guess, but not to the same ride or die way where it could potentially get in the way of him being able to be a daredevil. Anyways, here's a short list of things Kick was willing to do for Gunther's sake come season 2. Replace the Magnuson family foosball table so they can both ride the coolest loop-de-loop guilt-free together. Get Shotgun married to a stalker for beloved Cuckoo Clock replacement money. Turn down the chance to ride Shotgun alongside his idol so he can be there fully for Gunther's coming-of-age thing. Have a literal fucking wife guy moment, completely unprompted by the way, in the middle of an important jailbreak detention era-ass planning session. fight Magnus Magnuson to the death in a heated round of battle sneakins if it meant Gunther's freedom from grounding. Get bodied left and right for the sake of keeping Gunther's promise to not go down all the exciting rides first after breaking it. I mean, there was also that one time he held hands with Kendall dressed up as Gunther, but we don't talk about that episode.
And how come you two are holding hands?
Don't judge us.
The absolute level of just terminal down bad Kick has for Gunther on an episode-to-episode basis would at first glance seem totally antithetical to the cool-headed, law-breaking, and excitement-loving rebel that we were otherwise presented with throughout the show. Until you unpack the implications of abandoned friendship and what he specifically learned from that experience. Their shared friendship was something that kept the both of them going, and something they could not replicate with other people, try as hard as they might. Their shared idiosyncrasies made them basically incompatible with anyone else except for each other, and they both had too much pride to admit when things became too strained. So the fact that it was Kick specifically of the two that took the lead on an emotional level just to admit outright that, yeah, he missed his best friend, instead of Gunther is kinda nuts. Like, he can barely compliment Kendall, his alleged love interest, without some kind of take-backsies. Yet post-abandoned friendship, he goes out of his way to prove just how much he values Gunther's support, skill, eccentricities, and trust, both for the fun of it and at the cost of his own dignity at points. Interestingly enough, it's the exact same energy Gunther already offered him back unquestioned for most of the show's run, even against his own reservations. From completing Kick's stunt for him after having knocked him out, to reaching out to Billion Stumps himself to help Kick get his mojo back after losing his helmet, it's clear that Kick's happiness is Gunther's happiness as well. So when even Billy can see just how special a bond they share with each other as stuntman and wingman,
How is it that right when I needed you most, there you were at the top of Widowmaker's Peak?
Your buddies, he's something else.
it's definite food for thought. But if there's one episode that just brings it all home, it has to be the revelation that is War and Peace. So here's the basic rundown. Kick helps Gunther do a viral stunt thing in tribute to Gunther's personal hero, Thor Thorson. All fine and dandy, right? But shenanigans ensue, and Kick ends up doing the stunt instead of Gunther, thus securing his place as the best Viking ever wore. You'd think the conflict of the episode would go like this. Wow, Kick goes viral and gets recognized for his skills, but becomes so pig-headed about it, he doesn't even realize that he sold this opportunity from his bestie. But instead, his immediate response is to keep vouching for Gunther as the true genius mastermind, the most deserving of their praise, even as the people of Old Country both metaphorically and physically leave him to eat dirt at every given chance. Kick gets sick of all the disrespect being put on Gunther's name, so he encourages Gunther to take up the mantle like he should have done to begin with and do the stunt. What could possibly go wrong after that? Oh, okay. A lot of things apparently. With the festival seemingly ruined, Gunther chooses to face the wrath of the crowd all on his own. Until it's revealed that he is the splitting image of Thor Thorson. And like the terminal fucking wife guy that he is, Kick encourages the mix-up, and Gunther gets to revel in the praises of his people. It goes well. And both parties are content with the goings-on, of Gunther finally being recognized for his awesomeness, until Gunther drops this bombshell.
You're gonna be the envy of the cul-de-sac when we get home.
Home? I am never going home!
That's right. You're never going... Wait, what? Gunther?
Gunther's never going back to Mellowbrook, because for once in his life, people actually recognize him as more than just Kick's shadow. Which makes Kick's next choice of words, while understandable, not the best thing to tell someone already convinced that they're wholly unremarkable on their own.
You're not Thor Thorson. You're Gunther Magnuson. You don't belong here. You belong in Mellowbrook.
I do belong. They need me here.
But I need you. You're my wingman.
Wingman? Oh, I get it now. That's all I am to you.
Kick tries to reason with Gunther, but it's wasted breath because constantly playing fixer to someone else's hopes and dreams while never getting recognized for it has made Gunther deeply bitter. And the fact that he can lash out at Kick and his dumb little stunts without much resistance from the other guy shows that Kick can at least recognize the logic behind it, and he willingly chooses to part ways and to break his own heart if it means getting to see his bestie flourish without him. But then it turns out there's this whole hidden, all Thorthorstons must sacrifice their lives in event of volcano eruption clause that Gunther didn't know about, and after finding that out, he takes it pretty well. So the people of Old Country wish him a very die as they prepare to launch him to his doom, only for Kick to rush in, get Gunther to give up the lie, and defend the awesome of his beloved friend in probably the gayest moment of reconciliation I have ever seen put into a boys' cartoon. Shit's wild.
And sure, you may think he has disgraced all of Vikingdom with his mere presence.
Thanks, Kick.
But the man you're about to launch into the volcano is the proudest Viking you will ever know. And I am honored to be his best friend.
You really mean that?
Yes. Will you come home?
Oh, Kick, yes!
Oh, Gunther.
Kick just mask off cries at knowing he'll continue to have Gunther still there in his life, something he would never have done early in the show's run, but can do now, because he finally gets how much better his life has been through having Gunther in it. And Gunther finally realizes that Kick's, you know what, I'ma just say it, unconditional love for him is the real deal, not just a thing born of convenience. And Kick still choosing to save him from certain doom, even after all the terrible things he said about his dreams as a stuntman, say so much about what actually keeps him going. Because it's not just about the fame for him, nor is it just about the glory or just about the aesthetic of being a daredevil, but just being able to share that with someone who gets it, who knows how much it means to him and finds joy in learning to get it as well. Kick and Gunther are the other's better half, complementing each other's strengths while accounting for each other's weaknesses. That's how these two can land a canonically doomed plane just by working together at the end of the episode. And that's why their friendship just towers above all of the other partnerships of convenience present throughout the show.
You did it, Kick! You landed the plane!
No, Gunther. We did it.
We?
We.
The stuntman and his wingman, two great halves of an even greater whole, and the reason why so much of this show works so well thematically. And I'm tired of everyone pretending that it's not.